This is your daily market recap for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022. Doing it during live hours. Got some things going on tonight, but wanted to get this out for folks because I know there's a lot of people trying to figure out what is going on in this market, and we want to give people what they need. Ultimately, is a continuous update of just kind of trying to project what's going to happen, because we always love to anticipate the moves. As we said this week, the first 3 trading days of the month usually bring new money into the market. This whole Pelosi and Taiwan stuff, it's more of a distraction. Just continue to trade the charts, try to do well. Let's get into it. Hopefully this will help. If you have any questions, again, stop by the Discord room, link in the description below. This channel is meant for traders who have experience, who just don't seem to win consistently. That's one of the things that really is the next step for people. If you can win 50% of the time, then how do you limit your losses, and then how do you also stick to your winners? That's usually one of the hardest things. Again, check out the Twitter page. Always dropping charts and links and ideas as well there. Here you go. Let's get into it. The Bitcoin, talked about this, needs to go higher. No, I don't want to upgrade TradingView. You're terrible. Higher highs, higher lows. I mean, it looks like it's stair stepping up. Again, just be cognizant if this is an M. Is this an M? If it's an M, then it's going lower. If it's just chopping and high and tight, great. Just please do me a huge solid favor. If you bought Bitcoin and are trading it, you don't hold it endlessly, because if it does take out the range lows somewhere in the 18,000 level, you got to go. It's really that simple. You got to keep it very simple, folks, because then we don't know anything. Traders who believe in certainty will certainly blow up. It's just that simple. Oil. Come on, I don't want to upgrade. What did we say was probably going to happen? It's going to pop. We say if it's holding this level, it's probably going to pop a little bit. Keep in mind the formation's set up, because you had this last time where it looked like it was going to track lower, then it popped. Now again, do we get back to the highs? That's really hard to project. I think you could see a retest if there's some geopolitical stuff, but as of right now, the trade is just what? New money coming in, oversold, bounce, holding the lows. Like you clearly can see. And this is one of the things that I'm particularly interested in, is what? I want to see what happens. This is a very binary point. If you get in, you get out. It's pretty simple. Like, you don't have to overthink this kind of stuff. It's like if Bitcoin, if you are short or long, this would be your reference area. And if it held, you're good. And if it failed, you're gone. That's how you try to make trading very black and white, but in a probability-based game, right? Because you find the points that mean the most. Let's get into it. TLT, talked about it getting up to 120 today. Not surprised it backed off. The volume is light, playing the game. Again, hit the 100-day, hit the channel high. That's pretty typical that it might back off. Keep in mind, this is a slow and steady up and downer. People are asking what's the best place to buy. I mean, you're probably not going to get much below 1750, 18 range if the trend is going to go higher. At this point, it's probably not worth chasing. As I've said, this is more of a hedge for me. If the market decides to go weak or to get weak, it's probably going to pull back. And then what? TLT should rise. I mean, it clearly is just channeling up. It's just what? At this point, it's the uptrend. You're not surprised. Look, we painted the picture for you. We said, hey, look at the 120s. It's probably going to get back up here at some point. We called it down here. Talked about adding here. Talked about you could add here. Now, I don't know if I want to add. Does that make sense? If someone's asking me directly, like, hey, do you think I should add? Like, I don't know. Is the risk, if the upside is only like 125, do you want to add at 118? That's a judgment call. That's not a what do you think, Dan kind of call. That's on you, because I personally don't need to add. I mean, I think the trend is going to continue, but I also don't want to level up or layer up at this point. Just is what it is. Now again, because I could be wrong. That's what you have to admit to yourself always. Could you be wrong? Dollar, what do we talk about? Said it's probably going to hold this low 20 range. Nice little bounce. Now at this point, I don't know if I get too excited about it yet. I'd probably create this little channelish down. It's hard to say for sure. Because typically you get like this bounce and then you retest, right? You get a little pop, retest. I'm always, very skeptical of the first bottomings and anything or tops. I mean, you guys know, people who follow me, because again, if you watch this, I mean, here you go. Here was the top. Everyone's like, oh, game over. And it's like, came right back. And then it literally cup and handled and went higher. So if you could have spotted this potential situation, you don't you don't need to rush into things. Like, that's why I always tell people, like, know that you know. Well, what do you know? Retest happens. What is a retest? A higher high, a lower high, and an exact high. I mean, there's usually some sort of retest. I mean, that's why I always, like, gold folks just are super, super, I would say this word, like, salty, because they want gold just to go. And it's like, did you study the past charts? Because we're going to get into gold. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you folks, but you hit the upside targets, and what did you do? Doink. The VIX, not surprised it bounced. What did we say? You hit the channel low, you probably bounce, you come back. You hit the range bottom, you bounce, you come back. Again, here's the whole first bottom probably isn't the best bottom idea. Now people say, oh, but here were some bottom. Well, no, I was coming off the low. Here was the one-time V up, and look at that. And that was actually the bottom for the market when it went screaming in June. Most times than not, it's going to do what? It's going to play this little game. Play this little game down here. And and this is the hardest part when you see it the first couple days of the month. We talked about the VIX, the market bottoming, or the market topping, the VIX bottoming. Like, what if you see the retest during options expiration? That's what I'm always very curious of. When you have your bottoms in the VIX, do you get a retest during OPEX? Now, this is another little nugget I'm dropping on you guys, so take note of it, because OPEX, again, is not next week, it's the following week. So could the market play a game of chop before it flops? Probably 50-50. It just really depends on the news flow, because the thing right now, when new money's coming to the market, bad news gets absorbed, bad earnings get bought. I mean, it's just, nothing, no, you know what I mean? Like, the market just shows you that nothing is really wrong, and that's what it pretends to be. I don't believe it. I think the bear market will continue at some point, but we got to get to the levels. We got to set the traps. We got to, like, really lock people in to lose. You know what I mean? And when I say lock people in to lose, like, you have to create this level of certainty where, like, the retail masses won't sell because they believe the market's going to go higher, because that's the goal of the market makers who take the market down. They want them to buy high, hold, and then sell low. That's what they do every time. Are we into that level of security? We talked about novice gaps being the tops, right? Novice gaps being the top. Remember? We talked about, again, it's amazing to me where people come into the Discord room and are like, oh, I never heard that. And it's like, literally say this every day or every video. Either you're going to have some sort of lower high, some slightly higher high, or you have like an equivalent high. I mean, that's what I think is going on here. Now, this is day 3, doji, into our potential fail zone. Now what? It's 50-50. I mean, this is the thing that's so hard about this action near term, is to know if it doesn't do one more, like, total blowout up. Because the media is really pushing this narrative that there was a Fed pivot. No, they didn't pivot, trust me. There is no Fed pivot. They're still worried about inflation. But the market is doing what? It's pushing this, like, sense of urgency and security for the long term to buy it. That's what we want to see. That's when we know that we're getting close. And again, I've said this to people multiple times. If you want to start shorting here, please layer in. Do not go all in. If you shorted Tesla or you shorted SMH or whatever your trade is going to be, again, I'd prefer to stick to tech when it's time to short. Please, like, just layer in. Like, don't go all or nothing. All or nothing trading is what? I say it every time. It is gambling. That's assuming everything is going to be perfect and will happen exactly like you think. It just doesn't work like that. I've been doing this a long time. I still put probabilities on my side to try to figure things out. 100-day. Here we go. 100-day. Watching this. Just really trying to figure out what's going on here. Not trying to overtrade. Not trying to do too much. I would love, because this is personally what I feel like would be the best trap. Maybe I'm wrong. Break out of this ascending channel. get up to, say, whatever price it needs to get to, then fail. Because if you broke out, that would get people super bullish, right? Like you had like this down channel and you broke out and it got super bullish and straight up. Now I know we've already broken the downtrend and people are super bullish, but even then you had like this little exhaustion, and maybe this is it. Maybe literally we are looking at the it. And people are like, well, aren't you short? No, I will be at some point. I'm not. What's the best way to describe it? It is what I'll be there. And if I somehow happen to miss it, I know there'll be a retest of some sort during OPEX. There'll be something. Because remember, what is OPEX's goal? Like, what is the chop into what? Kill the VIX. So again, FOMO is real. Trust me, I get it. If you were shorting stuff, you're just gonna have to be patient. That's the nature of the beast. Here's another reason. I mean, look, the IWM is holding up. We talk about IWM needs to peak first. It's up into some zones where it should peak, right? It's holding up. That's all you really can say at this point, right? It is holding up. Not showing signs of failure. I mean, because again, the best IWM move fails are what? These big up moves. Like these big, like open gap ups. I guess you could have that's one. It's just you're trying to find the recurring pattern. At this point, it's a chop top, unless it's a blow off top. At this point, again, I say this at this point again and again and again. Like you just don't know anything for certain. So you're playing odds. And if you understand the game of odds, well, then you know what? You know you're probably going to be early. You're rarely going to be perfect, and you're probably going to be late a lot. Like, that's just the nature of the beast, y'all. All right, gold. Let's talk about it. As said, probably going to get into the 160s, 165, 166 range. I apologize, I don't have it on this chart. Let me see if I can see it. Paint the picture on the weekly. You might be able to see the lows from which we were referencing. I'll just do it here real quick. I mean, I thought personally, you can see here was the fail point. Here was support, support, support. Look below, fail, pop. Here was support here, support, bounce, and fail. You can see this 166 level has a ton of muscle memory, right? Now what? I mean, I think it backs off. This is the hardest thing about trading and understanding volume and price action. I don't trust gold for the long term until what? I've said this over and over, and I say it every video. The whoosh, 2008, you had, like, when the Fed actually does pivot, like, this whole Fed pivoting is not happening. Here you go. Here was, where's the, was it this? Oh, yeah, COVID. And then Fed went liquidity heavy, just print. We're not there yet. We're just not there yet. So, I mean, no bulls and don't want to hear this, but I'm just trying to be honest with y'all because I love gold. I've traded it for 20 years. I know it's heavily manipulated. I know it's a crappy game that's bullshit, and the Feds love to manipulate. At one point, they will be wrong. But you don't want to be early in this because I always say it's called purgatory. Sticking into a trade that's not doing anything is purgatory. Now, do we trade and we get stuck in purgatory? Yes, but we get out of it. It's like the penalty box. Hopefully, you're only there for 2 minutes. You're not there for the whole game. Silver said the same thing. Watch this 19 level. What did it get to today? Man, 1883. Damn, that's such a short arm. Does it retest? Maybe. I mean, your 50-day. I've said there's not a ton of upside in this stuff. The best time to buy silver, I mean, there's literally the best time was COVID, slam, and then bounce, then chop it out. And then what? It's been crap since here. I mean, the washout, 2008, much rip. Until, and again, if you bought it at any point, you've just been wrong. And then here you go. Spring of 2000, rip, pop. Do you see the pattern here of where it's amazing that people are always bullish silver, and it's literally been the penalty box. I mean, now, again, I will recommend buying physical when the spot price is what it is. But, I mean, you can't buy this stuff for the long term at this point. Now, people are like, oh, well, you're going to be late. You're going to miss. I don't know what to say. I just don't know. I mean, again, this volume doesn't really get me that excited. We talked about novice gap, potentially a little pro gap, and then here you go. We said this action should be good. And then, look, big gap up. Now what? Remember this big gap up, and then it chopped, and then it flopped. I'm pretty sure this is how it's all going to play out in time. Okay? Just be safe. GDX. GDX has been acting like crap. We've talked about this. What is the one thing that we've always talked about with what? Metals. Oops, sorry. Miners. They should lead. They should act well. Do you trust a gold move without the miners? You shouldn't. This doesn't really look that great. It looks like just a dead cat bounce off a reference point. What's your reference point? You got to go way back in time. Let me actually pull it up on the weekly. This extreme zone. I mean, I think it's like what 2000 and yeah. Here you go. The tops from the 2017. That's all it is. Oversold bounce, and people are just getting so damn excited. And I love gold, and I love the miners long term, but same thing. You had a period in 2016 when Yellen gave up. Boom. Do you see that? Like, it's just always being bullish gold and metal, the miners. Just warning y'all, it is not. It's not the trade. It's just not the trade. And everyone's like, well, inflation this and the market that, and it's like, the market is manipulated. Miners don't do well with higher input costs. Miners don't do well with what? Without big screaming moves in gold. They're a leverage to the gold. And if gold is just chopping around 1600, 1700, these companies aren't expanding. They're not, like their margins aren't expanding. They're actually narrowing. So if gold moves up $50 an ounce, does that really change the game for them? I would argue it doesn't. And hence the action. Just now, we said the junior miners look better. But what? Said I hope they get up to 35? I don't like this long wick. I will say it's pulling back on lighter volume. If that's like the benefit of what's going on here, that is cool. Now, again, I said to people, please don't chase this action this morning. I literally had to put someone in the penalty box for a week because they're like, oh, I'm just going to YOLO it. It's going higher. And it's like, well, look at that. It pulled back probably 50, 70 cents. I don't know, from where you said you had to buy it. And unfortunately, that was the wrong play. And again, nothing personal. It's just, if I did the same thing, I usually lose. So if I warn people, like, please don't do this. It's a losing trade or losing tendency. I don't know why people feel like, well, guess what? Let me figure this out on my own. Well, when somebody who you supposedly your mentor or helping you out or teaching you offers this kind of wisdom, again, I've traded miners forever. Please, trust me. Like, you don't chase them up. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Until there's a what? A bull market. A bull market. We're not in a bull market for metals. Please, don't lie to yourself. So sad. AG, here again. Here's a name that should be on fire. Nowhere. AEM. Now, this one actually had volume off the low, so I'd keep this in your radar when it comes back, because it'll probably, fill this gap. Got it? Newmont. I mean, look how crappy Newmont is acting. It gapped down on its earnings. I know that's a big volume node. It luckily should hold. But what have we said? Check out the monthly. It's probably going to test 43, 42. Again, things you don't see if gold and the miners are going higher. Now, again, someone will probably hit me up tomorrow or Thursday when it pops a little higher and retest the highs or whatever the formation ends up being, some sort of equivalent high retest, and they'll go, well, see, you were wrong. And it was like, no, that's what we talked about. Oh, but you're so flippant. You don't tell me exactly what I should do. And it's like, no, we're trying to read the market, anticipate probabilities, and play the game as is. All I can tell you right now is that the gold stuff, gold market, gold action isn't bullish. Doesn't mean it's going to not retest the highs, but I would not stick in it. Would not stick to it. Does not have stick-to-itiveness, if that's a word, right? Anyway, material names. Now, again, here we go. Talking about upsides, you probably could get up here, but what if the upside is what? Right here. Let me draw it for you. We don't know anything for sure. Remember, this is a bear market. It's a trader's market. As soon as you get real comfortable in something, the market does what? Probably flips its ass over on its head and tries to get you to do what? The wrong thing. That's what markets do. Now, again, we talked about holding it, could buy it. Got over the 20-day, said that was key. Got over the 50-day. Now what? I don't know. Should be taking profits. That's all I've been telling people. Like, the more you're up, the less you own. Same thing with Nucor. Said maybe it could get up here. Again, if it misses it by a point, you're just going to watch and ride it all the way back to 100? I hope not. Again, Always sell into strength. It's so much easier. It's just so much easier to do that versus trying to wait for this exact spot to sell it all. Because again, if you can't buy, if you're buying and layering in, remember layering in, remember we talked about it, buy, layer in. Well, then what? You layer out. It's the same thing. We can't pick the exact bottoms. We know where they're approximately at. We know the zones. Well, what about the highs? Well, it's the same thing. Reverse the principles. Pretend this is a short. Same thing. Like we're just layering in. It's really as simple as that, Dan. You try to make it as simple. VALE, we talked about this one. I'd love it down in the 11s. Probably chopping, bouncing. It's just, I don't know. I don't trust it. That's just all I got on it. Now again, near term, I don't know. Near term, I don't really know anything. That's what I always tell people. Like, we don't know for sure. We know a few things based on seasonality, recurring patterns. But I'm not sitting here going, you need to buy, here, for example, CCJ. I get this asked me every day. Hey, what do you think of uranium names? No, the best time to buy them is like when gold. Same thing, when the market liquidates and the feds pivot. The feds haven't pivoted. Stop it. Stop parroting the news. Because the news is the what? The noose that you put around your neck before you do what? You hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself if you think this is going up forever. Oh, it broke the downtrend, Dan. I see that. And then it went doji, making lower highs, lower lows. That's not bullish. That's not bullish. Anyway, long term, I've said this a billion times. I do believe it's starting an uptrend. I remember the last uptrend. I was involved in it. Remember all these silly splits it did, and then it went super nuts. Then it had a head and shoulders high. Then it got real silly. It came back and retested because uranium was here to stay. Well, again, uranium is here to stay, but they priced in the future, just like tech stocks. Once they price in the ultimate best times that could be, they actually have to execute it and make tons of money, more than what the market already expected. You know, think of like Tesla trading at 1,000 times future earnings. Like, well, can they ever really grow into that? Probably not. Point being is, I still expect what? At some point, you're going to get this test of the 16 level on CCJ. Oh, but it's at 25. No way. I'll just hold through there. Okay, well, you do want to take a 40% haircut? You go right ahead. We're in the game to hold winners, sell losers. And if this doesn't act right, you don't hold on to it. It's really that simple. And again, if people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, okay, you do what you got to do. I mean, I've just seen the billion people continue to lose, not billions, but tons of people just get terminated. Arnold here, do not hold uranium stocks to a bear market. You will get slaughtered. I will terminate you. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, they get terminated. It's like gold, miners, whatever. They're going to struggle. Now, we know there's tons of great fundamental long-term action for uranium. No one doubts that. But what do I doubt? The miners. Unless you're buying the actual uranium, like commodities, it's totally different. Again, like silver. Like, what's the downside in silver? Probably pretty low. But what about the silver miners? They can go nada. They can get absolutely murdered. Arrow, just talked about it, popped 50-day. I mean, we like copper long term, right? We believe in this green, I don't know if I say green, but electric revolution. Yes. Green, I don't know if that's the right color to describe it. We just believe in electric future. Then what? You're going to need these materials. Copper is one of them. Watch this name around $6. Keep it simple, stupid. Right? Like, that's all we're trying to do. Mosaic had earnings. I don't remember if they were good or bad, but you know what I say? I like the reaction because guess you gap down, you open at the highs. I mean, everyone who sold this morning, wrong. Look at CF. Oh, look at that. Got up near 100. Look at M apples making a higher high. Oh, look at that. Hits the trend line and doinks off. Backs off. Not surprised. Not surprised, right? First touch. Now let's see what happens. Higher and tight is good. If not, going lower. Like you're in under the water. Literally, if you hold it forever and you get caught underwater. AMD, earnings after hours. Now, what did we say, folks? Love it. Told you to buy in the 70s, said we'd probably get into the mid-90s at worst. Well, now you're into the 99 range, and if you're not taking profit into earnings, I don't know what to tell you. You're just a greedy SOB who wants to get every slice of cake. You've gotten rich and fat off of this, probably rising 30% approximately, but now what? Gotta get more. It's a bull market. No, it's not a bull market. Oh, I gotta get more shares. AMD, they're going to blow it out. Fundamentals. Well, maybe you don't remember the past. There was a time when chips become a commodity, and look at AMD. It went from 42 down to penny stock, Pennyland, $2, a dollar. Does that happen again? I don't know. But I wouldn't want to stick around to find out. That's for damn sure. Someone will. I can guarantee they will. That's what losers do, is lose. SMH, what do we say? Channel high, 100-day. Don't be surprised if we could get up into the 250 range. Well, maybe AMD pulls it up. Either way, we will be looking for shorts in the semiconductor, because what happens when these become a commodity? Literally, they will cut each other's throats. Literally cut each other's throats for pricing power. Look at that in 2000. Blah, dropped to 13 from what? 105. Oh, but we held through it. Held strong. Diamond hands. Diamond broke. Yeah, you had a nice, man, it's like a 7-year double bottom. That's pretty wild. Missed that one. Should have rode that up. But anyway, point being is, oh my God, look at that astronomical rise. Oh, it can't fall, Dan. Chips are the future. Chips are the future, okay? Yeah, I got it. You hold on, and I'll short and trade it, and we'll buy commodities later. And you continue to hold those outputs while the inputs become more valuable and expensive. The inputs will eat in their margins, but you just hold through it. You do you. IBM, we talked about the stock holding up really, really well. How did we know? Well, not really know. We talked about it. Like, look at this. Remember, the market peaked in November. Look at IBM. I see higher highs and higher lows. We talked about it. Could bounce. Looks cool to me. Just know your levels. Like, do not let this come back to 125. Please don't let it come back to 125 and not take profits. That would be a shame. Shame on you. Shame. Like, what was that stupid show? No, not stupid. I guess it was pretty. Game of Thrones wasn't stupid, but when what's her name was walking through the street, shame. Apple, we talked about getting in the 160s. Might get a little tired up here. Oh, I'm feeling tired. I haven't been sleeping well. I don't know why, but that's a big gap on earnings. Is this some sort of island floating? Don't say it. Reversal? Gap. Novice gap. Gaps and then chop. I don't know, but I know people getting real excited about Apple going higher, and it's like, oh, they announced that 4-part bond offering. Wow, buy back their stock. Maybe they should invest in the future versus buy back their stock. That could be more lucrative, but no one wants to do that. Tim Cook has got to get paid, so just watch it. If the 160s fail, that was an island floating reversal. Oh, meta. You just keep playing the games here. Here's the stock. Again, if it breaks, fails, going higher. If it holds, should go higher. Let me start that again. Blech. If it fails here, going lower. If it holds, should go higher. Pretty binary. You got to love these binary points because they tell you everything you need to know. Like, think of it here. Like, chop, then went. Chop. Does it go? We don't know. No. We don't know. Who knows? But you play the probabilities, right? Roblox, what did we say? Once you get over 42, I could make a run for 45. Make a run for the border. Oh, that's an old trend line that seemed to just hit exactly. I still think it can get up into the 50s, but, well, notice that one. Let's see where does this one come from? Ooh, I know where this comes from. Ooh, the old trend. The old, like, channel high. Old trend high. Like, couldn't get over it and then gapped over it. Now we backtest it? It's crazy. I mean, some of the most powerful trends from the past, I always tell you, like, you got to save them. You absolutely got to save them. These are very steep. They don't really count. Way too steep. This, too steep. Look at them apples. That retest. Things you don't see until you look through the charts and you zoom out. Notice how I'm not looking at the 10-minute chart showing you guys 10-minute and 1-minute setups. Like, that's complete garbage. Like, all of our trades start on the big charts, okay? That's how we roll. Whoa, look at the TLT smoking, getting smoked. So at this point, now what? Watch it. Just watch. Eyeball it. Tesla. I mean, this is not. I mean, I get it. It's like bulls are telling me 1350 targets and 1500 and 2000. It's like, That's not bullish. It gapped up, closed at the lows. Now you're chopping, make a lower low, possibly higher low? Question mark? Yeah, it usually gets choppy unless you get this like huge monster gap up, which I think that was probably earnings, if I had to guess. I don't remember exactly what that was. Could have been a sweet broker upgrade. They love to upgrade at the highs and downgrade at the lows, if you noticed. Now what? I personally would say I think you can short it. We talked about Tesla Q. Buy it on pops. Don't short it on the lows. That would be silly. That would be silly. So silly. No, don't do that. We got over this box, said maybe the 200 day. You're seeing it seems to be stuck under the 200 day. Fundamentals. I mean, it's crazy how many people have just been duped to think this is going to go up forever. And that's the problem. It's like, look how steep this is. I mean, think of it like this is a penny stock and then 1,200 and whatever, 40. And you're going to hold it forever thinking that it can't go higher, lower. That is the definition of stupidity, meaning that what? Competition's always coming, markets change, priced in the future. What are the fundamentals? Well, you know what? The fundamentals at some point don't matter because we're going to talk about EXPI next. So just be safe with it. I think you can start shorting on pops. Please don't short lows. The EXPI, here you go. I always make fun of the stock because I got paid some through working there, and I always like it's a lottery ticket. We're doing so good. We are doing good. We're doing awesome. We're adding thousands of agents every month. Fundamentals, wrong. Well, maybe it bounces back. I don't know. But here you go. We said the 100 day. You're getting the 100 day. Now what? I don't know. Again, I'm not trading it, but hey, cool story. Fundamentals again. UTHR. This one annoys the crap out of me because someone asks me every day, like, oh, this is going to new highs. And it's like, well, what did we say? Watch out for the monthly channel highs. Well, you got close enough for government work. Could you get there again? I don't know. Oh, but look at this up move. I got a hold. We talked about take some profits. What did it do? It pulled right back to the breakout. Wow, imagine that. Then it went higher. Oh, you better start taking profits. Nope. And again, this is like any other stock that we talked about earlier. Say it was Nucor, US Steel, your gold stocks, which you should have taken profits now that we see the close. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Point being, what? You should be taking profits because the market's going to take them for you. It's just a matter of do you want to have the profits or do you want to give them back? Oh, man, you got to be super duper duper careful. All right, let's end it on oil because this is where I've got some trades going. Oil, what did we suspect? It's like can't speak after a long day. Think we're going to get back up here. Remember choppy top or a blowout. I'm expecting at least a choppy top. Why? Well, you know what? The fundamentals have not really changed. There's still supply constraints. I just think we need the market to drop. And the market to drop will show you that deflation's coming and all this other stuff. Well, if the market's holding up, what do you think oil should do? It's probably going to hoil up. It's going to hoil up. It's going to hold up. Duh. Man, it's not that hard. What about UNG? Oh my God, it's so ugly looking. It is so bad. What do we talk about? Choppy top. Choppy top. Now look where it's holding at. Where is it? What candles? Oh, here we go. It said this little area right here. There's a lot of muscle memory. Held there was the... Here, let me just zoom it in for you. All I want to do is zoom. All right. It was the high there. It was the high of these high volume candles. Look at that monster volume candle. It was the low here. Okay. You see that now again? The UNG is not the greatest product to chart. We know that for a fact. But are we not like I'm very scared for folks who think what? The top is in. I don't believe it. Now again, I believe nat gas will go lower in time. But if the market is holding up, I don't trust it. I don't trust it, okay? I just don't. I don't trust it just dropping off. So let's watch the close. I've said this, I said it all day. Everybody who sold yesterday was wrong. Close at the highs. Everybody who sold the day before that at the lows was wrong. I think at some point it's going to flip around. That's all I have to say. Like this gap down seems very ominous of what? A trap. Everyone's going, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah, I said a trap. You still have buyers. Look at this. Then you have some anomalies down here at the low. Now you're chopping, making what? Lower lows on what? Much lighter volume. Notice how we took out the lows, while I was talking earlier. And what did it do? It snapped right back. Look at the volume. I'm going to hold this overnight, and again, if I get penalized, I get penalized. That's the risk you take. My point being is what? I think we're going to bounce. Now, it should have already failed, but the market's holding up, right? This is the thing about this stuff. You have to be cognizant. You got to be cognizant of what is going on. Anyway, XOP. Here we go. Here's another one. Cognizant of what's going on. We said if you could get over 135 today, that's bullish. Well, where are we at? 135.20s. If this is a doji in an uptrend and you close over the wick, it's bullish. Get over the 50-day, even more bullish. I've said this a million times. Please do not be quick to short XOP or drip or whatever. Buy drip. Maybe we get back into the 140s. I don't know. But I do know what. This isn't bearish yet. I'm not seeing exhaustion. I'm seeing a little bit of tiredness. I can argue that. See what happens when we get the 137s. It seems likely we'll retest. ExxonMobil will end it there. Look at this beautiful baby. Like from, it's not Rounders. Why'd that pop up in my head? It's the Vince Vaughn movie when he goes to Vegas. He's like, oh, look at the beautiful babies. Yeah, like here's your abandoned baby. Like your long green candle and doji tops. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it can't do what? It can't retest. That's the biggest problem here. This gap is looming. Looming like a stinky fart. Does it have to fill it? Because I thought this gap was going to fill only. Well, then you gapped into the gap. Now, does that invalidate all the gaps? It just gets a little crazy, doesn't it? Because now what at this point? I don't know what to tell you. Because they had great earnings. Like everybody's expecting great earnings, right? Popped on volume, pulling back tight, I don't know. I really don't know. I can't remember the name of that video. I'm so exhausted. Cleaning up, trying to take care of the house, manage this board, manage trades, manage the kids, whatever. Keep an eye on it. Now, again, if you got real estate questions, you know where to hit me up. I'd love to help you out because, again, the goal is to make gains and then move it into real products, not just have the greatest account in the world. Let's look at UVXY. People are like, oh, I got to buy it. I'm like, oh, please don't. Please don't. Wait for the retest. Make sure there is a retest. Let's look at PXD. I think they got earnings coming up. Talked about probably getting up into the 240 range. EQT. This is another one if it's holding up. Because what I think is about to happen here is the market's going to look at this action and go cup and handle. And it might need a chop up here at worst. FANG is a diamond back. I think they're having earnings. I think they did. Gap down, close at the high. It doesn't look, again, none of this looks bearish. Valero holding up. We'll see in time. All right, if you got questions, stop by the Discord room. If you ever need me, you know where to ask. Again, please respect the room, though. If you come into the room and you don't scroll up and you don't look around, look at what's going on, and you just blurt out things and you expect people to be like calling into the Kramer show, like, hey, Kramer, what do you think of this stock? No, I mean, nobody's going to really want to help you because, again, help yourself. Explain the chart. Explain what you see to the rest of the group, then we can help. Because, again, that's how you identify a weakness. If you just come in there and you ask for someone to give you the answer, you don't really, it doesn't really mean as much. Hope this helps. I love you guys. Please be safe, especially if you got AMD into close. This will probably be after. I hope you took profits going into earnings. You don't know. You could hedge it with covered calls. You could buy puts. There's a million ways to play it. Anyway, talk to you later. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.